Hi, welcome to No Idea. It's been a long time since we were live.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while.
I know
3 weeks, I think.
I make excuses, which you shouldn't do, and some people shouldn't allow you to. But here we are, live again.
That's right. And we are a little earlier than usual if you are watching live on Facebook. And if you are watching, we do encourage comments, questions. We're doing these kind of tips to help your business and brand grow and develop. And especially kind of as we're getting into a season on social media where it's going to be a little bit harder to get into that competitive space.
Yes, in case you didn't know, there is a presidential election on November 3rd.
That's right.
So there are some things that, if you've probably noticed, all of the ads that are coming through, we all talk about campaign spending, but not just presidential, they're all the way down the ballot. Social media is the way that people talk to one another and get their message out. And during COVID, it's been really hard for them to get out on the campaign trail. So they are coming to social media, and that does cause some issues for brands and businesses every day. So we're going to give you a little bit of some tips for strategy to kind of navigate from now through November 3rd.
That's right. It is a crowded space. And, if you're watching us on social media, so you're familiar with how social media works, but you've seen it on television for decades where this time of year campaign ads dominate the commercial breaks. You stop seeing the local spots and you start seeing more, whether it's the president, Senate, the House, whatever the case may be. Your local leaders are running as well and putting ads out there. So it's trickled into social media where if you have a business, a brand, a product that you're wanting to get out there and doing ads for, just like on TV, the prices go up and you're not guaranteed that you're going to get those slots that you are maybe hoping for.
Yes, right now we're entering into, now it is mid-September, especially October 1st. It is game on, peak competition. Every 4 years, we see this, and the number of ads, and again, we see it everywhere. $17 to $20 million per presidential candidate.
Wow.
Plus, everything else that's been being spent below the presidential. So we have a lot of competition. Your cost per action is going to go up, and we're talking 10 times the amount.
Wow.
For a click, whatever your call to action is. All of those you could be seeing up to 10 times what you're paying. So really nailing down your strategy and your calls to action and evaluating what you want to do is incredibly important.
Now, does this also impact that organic reach that you're trying to get as well?
Absolutely. So you've got two sides of it. One, people are already burnt out, and some people just aren't interested in the political banter. We all want to have Christmas with our family, and so we don't. And people are unfriending people left and right.
Sure.
So people are staying off of social media. Maybe they'll post, but they don't scroll.
Right.
I mean, that's really what I do. I'll post something,
yeah,
but I won't scroll through because it's so negative.
Right.
And that's fine. We're passionate. We like that. But you do have to realize that as an advertiser in a business, that you're probably not going to get the same placement, and people aren't going to be as active in seeing your stuff. They're not going to be scrolling as often. And those that are, we do see an uptick in negativity.
And, even like what you mentioned, I'm guessing political ads will, I don't want to say the word because they dominate or they take precedence over, a small business that's trying to put an ad out there as well.
Well, they don't confirm that, but it's just an auction system.
Sure.
So within your ad settings, you can say maximum cost. You can set your bids, maximum bids, and place caps just like you would on Google Ads or any kind of advertising. So you can do that, but if you don't bid, then you're not going to be shown.
Yeah.
And that's how any advertising is. But knowing that, that's not only on television and radio, but it's also on social media, you do need to make sure that your strategy is very much in alignment, with the negativity,
Hmm.
and the lower organic presence. Really, we also have a high level of distrust,
Yeah.
and that's stemming from, again, politics. People just don't trust the information that's on social media. So if you are a new brand or a smaller business trying to grow, right now is really going to be tough because there's just so much distrust and negativity. And this doesn't last forever. It's just right now. And that is why you really need to stick to your messaging and reevaluate what you're putting out there. Does this every single post, does this have meaning? Do I have a call to action? Does this represent my brand now and in the future? You really want to look at all of those things. What do I need right now? And
Hmm.
if you need to increase business right now, then we need to talk about creating a full service plan outside of social media. You have to have social media for brand awareness, but there may be other options right now, depending on your ad spend. If you're spending a couple $100s, then we're going to stick to social media. But if you're spending thousands of dollars, you may want to look at broadening into other areas.
And we're still 47 days out to the election. So if you have, you know, plans or you're launching or whatever the case may be between now and the election, you really should have started a strategy and a plan weeks, maybe months ago. So really, you kind of got to get that ball rolling today if you really want to take advantage. And obviously the holiday season is fast approaching as well, and Thanksgiving, Christmas, Hanukkah, all of those that are celebrating and commemorating those holidays. So if you have sales or if you have things going on, you really need to strategize and come up with something. And again, that organic reach is important to just kind of stay true and resisting the political post and picking sides, if you will.
Yeah, and we say be relevant and keep up with the times. This is one that is an exception to that rule because you don't, negativity is up and we are all very opinionated. That's why we love social media. However, it does increase the negative actions, and you don't want to create unnecessary drama within your brand, or negative reactions that aren't due to anything that you've done, your customer service or your product. It's unnecessary. We don't need it. So stick to your messaging. Really look at everything that you're putting out there and what you're planning to put out there, and create an editorial calendar. Right now is incredibly important. It's always a good thing to have, to just stick with the plan and make sure that you are not forgetting anything or working at the last minute. But right now, it's very important because it is so tempting to put your opinions out there.
Hmm.
And though, even if it's on your personal page, again,
Sure.
I've stressed this
Yeah.
a lot, it does carry over. There are pages that have been built and developed and being monitored just to call people out, when you offend them or really just disagree at
Hmm.
this point. And even if it's not a PR nightmare, anything simple can become one,
Hmm.
just by having a different opinion.
Yeah.
So we just really need to plan out your posts now.
Hmm.
So you're going to tailor those based on your audience and what happens, but you're going to have your baseline message.
Absolutely. And also, as you're making that plan, don't just post across the board if you are on multiple social platforms, because as we've seen, you have different demographics, you have different people following on Instagram versus Facebook versus Twitter, for example. So you really tailor those messages not just to the audience but the social media platform, and understand that, obviously Twitter has a limit on the number of characters you can use, and Facebook, they have certain guidelines with videos or with ads that they're posting as well, that you need to familiarize yourself with and know kind of what's going on, because things may get rejected. And then with Instagram, posting links or email, you can't click on links in Instagram, and you can't copy and paste in Instagram to go to something. So do your call of action and detail that or tailor that to the social media platform as well, not just an across the board cut and paste. And we see that happen quite frequently, that, it's just a wash, rinse, repeat kind of mentality, and that doesn't always work.
And again, just paying attention. But when you go to set ads right now, the ad guidelines for every single channel are everything is being scrutinized because of political ads
Hmm.
again. So before you program any ads, do a refresher course on the best practices and each platform, their guidelines for advertisements. Because when an ad gets rejected, especially so on Facebook, it does count against you. If
Mm,
you have so many ads that are being rejected because you're going against the platform's policies, at some point they are going to shut down your ad account. So you have to, as soon as something gets rejected, one, hopefully you've done your homework and you've gotten it to where it's going to meet advertising guidelines. But everything is being scrutinized right now. So if it's anything of importance, national importance, one of Facebook's labeled issues, then it's going to be rejected unless you have a disclaimer. But you have to pay attention to what you're doing.
mhm.
And if you don't fix them, your ad account will be shut down. And that is a large pain in the butt.
Yeah. So, and it also, if you're even if you're not doing paid ads, paying attention to those details on your organic posts that you're making as well is critical. And engaging, posting things that are going to engage your audience, and then responding when you get, even if it's criticism, you can always take it offline, but never ignore the comments or never ignore the messages, good and bad. Always acknowledge and make sure that the people that are reaching out to you don't feel like they're being ignored, and that your account is not just being maintained by some faceless, nameless individual or bot system.
And creative output right now is incredibly important. Um, the fatigue of users and burnout is very high right now. Repetitive messages probably aren't your best friend right now. So now is the time to really bump up your creativity and create videos and new animations, animated images, and um, you know anything that you
Hmm.
can do to bump up that content library right now is the perfect time, because people are getting burnt out very easily, and you want to continually switch it up so that you gain attention. Otherwise, you're just kind of almost wasting your time.
Hmm.
And I hate to say that because I don't want to scare anyone into not being active on social. That's not what I'm saying
Right.
at all. I'm just saying take your time and strategize, which is kind of what I say all the time anyway. But right now, knowing that your campaigns are going to see some lasting effects from the political ads, even though your ads have nothing to do with that. Um, Cost, distrust, negativity, ad guidelines, and just the creative output, you have to really put a lot of attention on that,
Hmm.
more so than before.
That's right. And we'll be through the same thing 4 years from now, but yeah, we'll see how things evolve and change over that time. But really, again, it's just important to understand, even though you may, as Whitney said, may think this is not your business, your brand has nothing to do with politics, but as usual, as all of us have experienced, politics has a big influence on our day-to-day lives as well.
Yeah. One thing that you can do, again, we want you to continue to run your ads and be active. When you're running your ads and setting your audience, keep in mind that the political landscape, they are micro targeting on social media. So they are really getting into those behaviors and age demographics, especially. So your ads on your end, if you want to really get the most out of your money, broaden your audience for the next couple of months.
Hmm.
Broaden your audience. One, it's going to give you a chance to build some more brand awareness and appeal to a larger base. But it's also allowing you to gain some ad space that you won't have right now because of ad competition. So broaden your audience. And I hate to say that because it goes against kind of everything that we say on targeting, and you still want to target,
Hmm.
but broaden them. If by a couple of years or a couple of behaviors, add them in. Just broaden your audience so that the algorithms have more people to choose from.
Yeah, and that obviously will hopefully help you reach more people, but it also, you know, could change maybe the way that you do things with your, you may find a whole new audience base or a whole new demographic that is interested in your product that you maybe didn't know about before. So it may introduce you to some new things that may become a part of your permanent strategy.
Yeah, and with the distrust, a really cool thing that we've talked about before is influencer marketing.
Hmm.
Finding that third party that people trust. People don't always trust ads, but they will trust someone that they follow
Hmm.
all the time if they're saying they like your product or they use their product. That is a great method of advertisement right now. So if you've not really thought about influencer marketing, right now is a great time. And influencers can be more expensive. They are more expensive than your traditional Facebook advertisement. But right now, when you're looking at costs that are 8 to 10 times more, an influencer campaign could be the best solution for return on investment.
Yeah, and a lot of times, I mean, with your experiences, are people more inclined to, or brands inclined to reach out directly to the influencer, or do these people have channels that you have to go through, or how does that typically
A
work?
little bit both.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of influencers you can just um, contact directly, especially micro
Hmm.
influencers, but there are some that are managed. But it says all that information. There are also networks and platforms that connect you with influencers. We connect you with influencers. So that might be a great outlet. So I know that there are a lot of things that you need to look for and kind of create a strategy to prevent just wasting money on ads, but then also so that you can forecast channel audience and reach and cost per click or cost per action. But there's also a lot of opportunity right now because, one, on other channels, Instagram, for instance, the traffic is projected and has been going up on Instagram and down on Facebook because there's not as much argument, really.
Hmm.
It's
Sure.
pictures.
Yeah.
So looking at, reevaluating your channels and looking at other platforms is a great thing to do right now. And you may find an audience base that you didn't even know existed. You're going to broaden your ads, broaden your audience, broaden your channels, but narrow in the message and increase the output of creative.
Absolutely. And, again, these are things that we talk about here on Facebook Live, but these are also things that we are able to implement. And, we have the numbers, we can look and see. And, that's how Whitney knew some of those ad spends for the presidential campaigns, for example. These numbers are part of the analytics that we provide everyone who does business with us.
So, a lot of opportunity, things to look out for, some tips that hopefully help you navigate through November 3rd, and really just stay away, resist as a really anyone in business, resist the temptation, because it can carry over, and just know where it can create a public relations nightmare. Um, and it could be something very simple. So just be aware of what's going on and use these tips to kind of project your performance.
Very good advice.
That's all I've got.
All righty, friends. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll talk again soon.